Welcome to Mishna study. We're up to Peah, Perek Aleph, Mishna Dalet. Over here, we're going to speak about the criteria for Peah. What are the 5 criteria for all fruits, vegetables, grains to be considered, hayav in Peah? This happens to be a really important Mishnah. Different variations of it will come up. We'll speak about Truma, what's going to be hayav in Truma, Ma'asrot. So we're going to see this come up. If you can memorize it by heart, it's going to come up and it's important. Klal amru b'pe'ah, kol shu ochel, v'nishmar, v'gidulav min ha'aretz, u'kitato ke'ahat, umchaneso lekiyum, hayav b'pe'ah, ha'tevu'ah ve'akotniot b'kelal hazeh. Right, kotniot, that's how we pronounce it, as opposed to kitniot. So this is the rule for pe'ah, these 5 criteria. It needs to be ochel, it needs to be food, right? Over here, Harambam comes to exclude henna, different other plants that are used for dyeing, right? That's not considered food. He learns it from the pasuk, ubchutzrechem, it's ketzir atzechem. What does ketzir mean? It's something that needs to be your harvest, right? You're harvesting for eating. So it needs to be something that's edible, right? That's harvested for eating. That's ochel. Second one is nishmar. Nishmar literally means protected, as opposed to what? As opposed to something that's hefker, as opposed to something that's ownerless. If something's ownerless, that is patur from pe'ah. As the pasuk says, you need to leave these for the poor people, and meaning you need to leave it, meaning it's not already left on its own. It's not something that's hefker on its own. So if something's hefker, that's going to be patur from pe'ah. V'gidulav min ha'aretz, right, literally means it needs to grow from the ground, as opposed to what? As opposed to mushrooms, right, or different types of, fungus. It's not considered ketzir atzechem. That's also not considered something that's grown from the ground. Ulkitato ke'ahat, over here it needs to be harvested in one harvest, right? This is as opposed to something that has different ripening stages, or I would say the fruit. Right, the fruits on, let's say, a fig tree, for example, right? A fig tree in my backyard, it actually every few weeks, every week or so, it keeps on happening, and it lasts for the course of a month. Right, you have to keep on harvesting the fruit at different stages. Not all the fruit is ready at once, right? So over here, for it to be hayav and pe'ah, you need to be able to harvest it in one swoop. Umchaneso lekiyum, this is the last example. It needs to be something, and this is going to exclude a lot of vegetables. It needs to be something that you can store, right? Grains, wheat, barley, those are things you could store. Cucumber, right? That's not something that's going to be able to be stored. And then we say tevu'ah ve'akotniot b'kelal hazeh. Tevu'ah, this is speaking about all the grains, right? The 5 grains. They're actually categorized into 2. Harambam brings it down over here. There are 2 types of wheat, and there are 3 types of barley. We'll see this come up also later on. And ve'akotniot, this type of legumes, right? Fool, chickpeas, lubia, sesame seeds, right? Those different legumes. That's also going to be hayav in pe'ah. And then we said a klal hazeh. This is the klal. This is right. All these fall under this kelal. When you have all of these criteria, right? All 5 of them, then that item is going to be hayav in pe'ah. Right, that wraps up this Mishnah. And next Mishnah, we're going to speak about examples from fruit trees that are hayav in pe'ah.